this week's Safari with Brent, we're going searching for an African wild dog whose collar is not working. Luckily, we have the Lofeld's leading expert on wild dogs, Grant Beverly, to join us.
Endangered Wildlife Trust with WAG, which is essentially the Wild Dog Advisory Group, coordinates the introduction or the range expansion of wild dogs across southern Africa, looking at introducing wild dogs into areas that wild dogs previously existed or into areas that have the potential to have wild dogs. And essentially the introduction back into this area happened as a result of a free-roaming natural pack that occurred in the area being decimated or wiped out as a result of a rabies outbreak in 2015.
Yeah, so we're just setting off now. We've parked the vehicle. We think it's a couple of 100 meters probably to where the ping was. It's quite old. It was about 20 days ago.
Yeah.
So about 20 days ago. And obviously we're always hoping not to find a dead wild dog. But if it does, it's quite important for Grant to know because the management of all the wild dogs in the whole Lowveld area as part of that carnivore program, they might need to start looking for new males to bring in to the pack because he is the alpha, and that means all the other males that are still with the pack are related to the alpha female. They are her children, so it might be necessary to bring some new males into this area.
A pack is formed by mimicking natural sort of dispersal habits of a normal pack of wild dogs. So males from one pack and females from another pack are then brought together under artificial circumstances. They are bonded and a new pack is formed. So this pack that was introduced into this area just outside Hoedspruit was a group of dogs from KwaZulu-Natal, so females from one reserve and males from another reserve, bonded on the reserve and then released onto the greater Rietspruit area when the pack was formed.
I mean, we must be almost on top now, eh? Good news that the wild dog isn't here. And even if he had died, sometimes the satellite GPS can't pick up signal if they're under a thick bush. But with Grant and the telemetry this close, we would definitely be getting beep, beep, beep. So it means the dog's not dead. It is just a bit worrying that the GPS collar hasn't pinged in quite a while. There was a report of wild dogs back on Leadwood, near the Leadwood boundary this morning. So what we're going to do now that we've successfully scouted this area is jump back onto the safari vehicle and head off towards the northwestern areas of Leadwood, big game estate, and see if we can pick up anything on the telemetry there. And then a little bit later, hopefully, we're going to ask Grant some important questions about wild dogs while sitting next to a pack of wild dogs. So one of the biggest challenges that you face with wild dog conservation is they're one of the animals that you cannot keep in a fence. Lions, elephants, rhinos, buffalo are all quite easily, even cheetah, contained within a fence. Wild dog, hyena, however, go straight through fences. So luckily enough, to the north of us here is another reserve. It's not a big game reserve. Vim is trying to shock himself on the fence. Vim just nearly shocked himself on the electric fence. That would be 12,000 volts into Vim and into the camera, which could cause some interesting camera work. So as I was saying, the wild dogs will actually pass through a fence like this quite easily. So will hyenas. Now, fortunately, next door is another reserve, and they were spotted on that reserve this morning. You can see Grant behind me seeing if we can try pick them up on the telemetry. They might have come across through to Leadwood, so that's what we're hoping. So we're checking the northern boundary. Now, wild dogs, as I say, need a nice big area. In the Lowveld, Grant was telling me that it's about 45,000 hectares, the home range needed for wild dogs. So slightly smaller compared to other places like Botswana or Zambia, but still a massive, massive area. So in acres, let me just work that out quickly, is 45 times 2.2, it's over 100,000 acres that a single pack of wild dog needs. Now, we're really hoping to hear the ping, because that means that male's still alive and still with the pack. So there have been wild dogs seen, but no one was sure whether that collared male, the alpha male, was spotted this morning. So we're going to work our way down this fence line, stopping at high points and checking to see if we get any sound on the telemetry that'll let us know if that male dog is still alive.
So, I mean, essentially, the fact that wild dogs are an endangered species really boils down to the point that human populations are ever increasing. Availability of safe space is ever decreasing. And South Africa has really embraced this, what we like to refer to as a fortress-based conservation approach, where reserves are fencing themselves in. And the question is often asked, is that to keep animals in or to keep people out? And in South Africa, by embracing that approach, the Endangered Wildlife Trust, in collaboration with WAG, has seen the increase in the density of wild dogs within South Africa in these small fence reserves. So South Africa, seeing the benefits of these small fence reserves, has actually seen an increase in the wild dog population within South Africa of up to 100%, which has now enabled us to expand the range and availability of safe space outside of South Africa. So the goal, or the long-term goal, is essentially to expand this concept into the rest of Southern Africa, and then in years to come into the rest of Africa as well, to expand the availability of safe space as new reserves or protected habitats, fenced off reserves become available, to introduce wild dogs into those protected areas as well. And in order for a carnivore population, or in fact mammals, in order for mammals to be genetically viable, there needs to be at least 1,000 individuals within the population. So one thing to know in terms of for Rietspreek, for example, which has currently only got one pack of wild dogs, we look at it in a much larger scale, so across South Africa for now, and then eventually across Southern Africa, to manage the population of wild dogs. Although they are each sort of subpopulation, or each reserve may be in isolation of each other, we manage them as an entire population, because 1,000 individuals is required for the population to be genetically distinct. And no single population in Africa has got more than 1,000 individuals.
So unfortunately, we didn't find that wild dog this time, but we're going to be following this pack over the coming months and working in future with Grant and Endangered Wildlife Trust on ensuring those wild dogs get looked after. Remember, subscribe, follow. In the description below is how you can donate and help the Endangered Wildlife Trust save some of our spectacular animals. Please comment on our videos. Let us know what you think, how you enjoyed them. If you've got any questions about animals, particularly wild dogs because of this episode, please pop them in the comments and we will get back to you. Sometimes not immediately, but we will get there. Remember, there's just only 2 of us. There's only so much we can do. See you next week.